the third trade we're going to talk about is the dunk champion, because he was robbed. Aaron Gordon, AG 00. He goes to Denver along with Gary Clark, and the Magic get back in return. They get Gary Harris, they get RJ Hampton, and they get a 2025. Ooh, that's a long way away. First round pick, which is protected. Ed, thoughts on this trade?
So going in before the deadline, Boston seemed to be the leading candidate, and I was actually quite excited when I heard Marcus Smart could be part of the trade, because they didn't really have any other pieces Boston to provide, and Marcus Smart feels like a better option than a lot of other players that I heard being thrown around. And I thought, you know what, it would be really fun to see Marcus Smart and Michael Carter Williams in the backcourt. That would just be super hard for guards to get anything on. I thought that would be really fun to watch. But anyway, but then the reports came out that Marcus Smart isn't part of the deal, and I think if I was Orlando, even I'd be like, you know what, fuck you, Boston. If you're gonna not play ball with us, like, we're gonna go to Denver. We're gonna get another deal from Denver. Whether it was a first round pick from Denver or a first round pick from Boston, it didn't really matter too much. The pieces, so the organization looking at what pieces Boston can provide versus the pieces that Denver can provide, that felt a bit more assured with what Denver could provide, because Gary Harris has already been a starter. He's been in the league, 6-7 years. They thought, you know what, we'd rather take him. We know Fournier will probably going out. We need a shooting guard to come in. There are injury concerns, but you know what, let's just still get him in, and let's just get RJ as well. We'll see what he does. We know he was abroad and then he got drafted. So let's see if we can develop him in our system for a little while. Getting a first round pick, cool. From AG's perspective, he's now gone from being the second or third option team to now the third or fourth. If that's something that he wanted, cool, fair play to him. He did say that, you know, he wants a bit more notoriety, you know, wants to be in the spotlight a bit more, go to a bigger market, cool. And there's not, again, grass isn't always greener. So if you did want to move, credit to him, go, cool, do your thing. Good 6-7 years. One thing is that I think with the Orlando roster, everyone was overqualified for their role. Gordon would ideally be a third or fourth option, which is good for Denver. Fournier should be a third option. Vucevic should be a second option, because it's always nice to have a guard and a big combo, which is what most teams have. When a guard is just purely by a big is purely by himself, it's not the same, because you don't get the same distribution from a guard. If Orlando had like a point guard, let's just say Damian Lillard, I just think the Orlando Magic would have made a massive jump compared to another team who, if you just insert one superstar, if you were to do that, everyone's sort of hierarchy changing it, and everyone sort of fits in their position a bit better. So from the Orlando perspective, blowing everything up, just get as many assets as we can. From Denver, maybe Gordon is better suited to be third or fourth option in a team where he can play alongside Jokic and can have a bit more floor spacing.
I think this spells trouble for Michael Porter Jr. here.
I thought he would be.
I really like the two of them together.
Yeah,
I really like this.
I don't know, man. I think his ego is too much. I think Gordon's taking over as the third option. Let's be real here. And Michael Porter Jr., somebody who asked for more shots in the playoffs.
I disagree with that, because if that was the case, I reckon they would have traded Michael Porter Jr. I reckon Michael Porter Jr. is third option and AG's fourth. That's just my perspective.
I think
Gordon,
AG. Go on, Bray.
I was going to say, I think he's, and you guys can probably attest to this, but I think he's willing to do the other stuff that Michael Porter Jr. isn't. Like, when he's on the floor, he will rebound, he will defend, he will make that extra pass.
Porter Jr. is a big rebounder. But I'll say for Gordon, a massive thing about having him, he's great defensively, like you were saying. Denver, they now have like their sort of Kawhi stopper. Like they have a great defensive wing now. And I think that's going to be massive for them. I mean, no, Jokic is like great as he is offensively. He's awful on D. Probably one of the worst defensive players you'll see. So, I mean, having Gordon there for extra D is great for them. He's also someone who can help handle the ball. And sort of with Jokic, he's going to get Gordon those open shots. Because the thing with Gordon is he does take so many contested shots, but with someone like Jokic who can create and sort of Jamal Murray to stretch the floor, I think he's going to have so much better shooting opportunities.
My dark, well, I would say my underrated part of this trade is RJ Hampton. I think for you guys to pick up RJ Hampton, who is somebody who hasn't had a lot of opportunity and was a risk for the Nuggets to draft, and to put him in a situation where there's no expectations on Orlando, especially in this year, he's going to get a lot of playing time, able to make mistakes. I think he could be a really good piece for you guys moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with that is I think I'm not sure where he's going to fit in when Cole Anthony falls back from injury. There's going to be 3 of them fighting for those spots.
Especially if we draft a point guard or a shooting guard in the draft as well.
Oh my God, yeah, then it gets interesting.